Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today, like as a developer, whenever you get a new machine and you would like to, install all this open software and everything. So in this, I was just in the process of installing all the software in my computer. I installed software like all the different databases from MySQL to MariaDB, MongoDB, and SQL Server opens all SQL Server community version, developer version, anything that is free. And one of the common problem that I'm going to talk about today is like when you install a SQL Server, and then when you install a SQL Server, by default the authentication it uses Windows authentication. And then I was writing a little application basically connecting to from Spring Boot to SQL Server, and with the Windows authentication it's a little tricky. So basically, let me show you how to enable SQL Server authentication rather than Windows authentication in your SQL Server community version or developer version. All right, let me open my SQL Server Management Studio 18. So these are the steps I will have to do because I have to go through so many a lot of search in the internet to make sure how to, because information is really scattered. So I don't want people to suffer what I suffer. Basically spend like a couple of hours doing research on how to do all those kind of things. So I decided to make this video. Anyway, let's say by default it's a Windows authentication. In your machine you log in, and it's no problem. Right? It's good for Windows authentication, but our goal is to being able to SQL Server authentication. To be able to do that, you just, from your server here, right click, go into properties, and then from the properties, you go into a security. And of course, in my machine, I had already enabled it to use the SQL Server in Windows authentication mode. So by default, it is the authentication mode is in the Windows authentication mode. You have to make sure you change that into SQL Server in Windows authentication mode. That is the very first thing you have to do. Okay, once that is done, let's say now you have to create a new user. That user should be able to log in into the SQL Server using his username and user ID and password. Let's go ahead and create a new user. Go into a security tab, and then here go to login, and let's see, we're going to create a new login. Let's give this user a name. I'm going to call this name as SC, and this is going to be a SQL Server authentication. I'm going to give a password as password 123. Okay, so, and then of course, you create this user here. Because, this user should be able to do something. Let's provide some role also so that you can, see the databases. Right now it's a public, we just can't view it unless for some reason, but this is system admin user. We can make this guy, let's make him sysadmin user. All right, so we have this new user with a SQL Server username and a password. I'm going to go ahead and close this. I'm going to open SQL Management Studio again, and this time I'm going to log in. Let's try to use the SQL Server authentication. We create this new user. Okay, so this is a very common message that you will see. It says connection was successfully established with the server, however, blah blah blah, but no process in the end of the pipe. This is a very common message that you will see. So there's a couple of things you should be able to do. Open your SQL Configuration Manager. In my case, SQL Server 2019 Configuration Manager. Go ahead and open it up. And from here, go into Server Network Configuration. From the Network Configuration, go into Items, double click that one. In my case, make sure all of these, named pipes, shared memory, TCP, IP, all these configuration are enabled. By default, some of these are disabled. If any of these are disabled, you might not be able to log in as a SQL Server authentication. Because I had to do a lot of research. I mean, like go through internet to find out why, and I hope this hopefully is. Okay, this is the next thing you have to do. Make sure all of them are enabled. Let's go ahead and close this one. Remember, I was still not able to log in. The problem I figured it out is that you have to recycle your services. Now go into services here, and from the services, find your SQL Server instance and restart it. Here's my SQL Server, and all you have it's running automatically. All you have to do is, of course, restart the server. Just let it run. It's restarted now. Let's see if we can log in this time. Okay.
You'll need to unlock your iPhone first.
Sorry for that, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and enter my password of this particular user that we had created earlier. All right, as you can now he was able to log in. As you can see, he's logged in as SC user, and then you can see the databases. This being able to see all the table and stuff is nothing to do because I have made him sysadmin. He's admin user. But anyway, this is very, very common problem. Anyway, if you guys have encountered this issue, I put all this information together. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm pretty sure it's going to be helpful for somebody out there. Thank you for subscribing, guys. Talk to you guys later. Bye.